Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the weekly XponentialWorks discussion about how we as entrepreneurs, business people, impact people are navigating through this unprecedented period of COVID-19, what has happened to us, how we are adapting, and more importantly, how are we staying healthy and safe and beginning to pivot uh, towards the recovery from COVID-19 whenever it happens. We have two incredible entrepreneurs today for this discussion that are really good friends and kindred spirits that I'm happy to call my friends. From Italy, we have a pioneer in desktop 3D printing, co-founder, CEO Arturo Donghi, who built ShareBot to the company that it is today, and he will be giving us a report from the front lines of Italy as it begins to return to some semblance of operational normalcy. And from Malibu, California, we have my good friend Garrett Gerson from Variant Malibu, but also from Calamigos Ranch, big in hospitality and resorts. He's going to tell us about how he has adapted his hospitality business and his 3D knit printing business during COVID-19. Arturo, I want to start with you as we welcome all of our webinar participants that are still logging in and attending. Hi, everybody. I see some familiar faces here. It's good to see you. Arturo, can you give us a little update from the front lines in Italy, a country that has been really devastated by coronavirus? What's going on?
Okay, so good morning to all people. The situation was a disaster. We have more than 21,000 died people, and we are coming out from 4 weeks of shutdown completely. So all the activities and our activities and ShareBot was closed. And we start just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, to reopen a little bit, just to open, just to be a little bit with the other. So it was really a very bad period because for 4 weeks completely closed. This is the situation, but the situation in general going a little bit better. So the number of people with COVID-19 is going a little bit down. There are probably, they have understood, our people and our hospital understood how they can manage this coronavirus. And so we have each day a lot of people safe, and they can go outside from the hospital. But after COVID-19, takes a little bit time, 2, 3, 4 weeks to become same as before. This is the situation. But we think that in a few weeks, 2 weeks, all industry will open again, and in 1 month or 2, open all the activities.
Now, Arturo, you during the lockdown in Italy and during the mandatory self-shelter in the house, you were very active as an individual and as a company in some of the emergency response activities that were powered by 3D printing. Can you talk a little bit about what you did during the early days of the outbreak and the role that you and ShareBot played in the local emergency response?
Okay, we get an authorization, and for 4 people, 5 people of R&D, me and some people for R&D, to stay in the factory. And so we try to help. So we try to help people. And we understood also a lot. At first, we understood that 3D printer can help a lot a special situation or a strange situation like that. Because in a few, in 2 days, we were able to transform, as I show you, a snorkeling lamp mask in something for hospital. But immediately, in few days, all people that have a 3D printer start to print this special Charlotte valve, and immediately, in less than 1 week from start of the problem, we were able to help our hospital before they start build another hospital, and so. But we were able to do that. This was very important. Second thing, very important. We use this time for make team building. So each day, if our people are at home, we had a meeting with all people at 10 o'clock in the morning, and all people say something nice or some experience, not bad, nice. Try to think nice idea or nice things, and because Italian people are not useful to use Zoom or this kind of platform. We like to stay at the bar, but we have no more bar. We like to drink coffee together. We cannot drink coffee. So we start to play another game, and with this type of new communication way. And then we make also some game inside, because we say what we can do. We help people, we make a building, and then we make a game with all our people for make communication. And we make a lot of posts or on social network and so on, and our statistics go 3 times higher. But it's the only thing that we can do, because we have to stay at home. And at the end, we make like a tour, like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and so. And each day we have some points, and we do that. So we help people, we make a communication, and third, we develop new things, because people of Christian and Andrea, that our R&D manager, they come and we think, and they start to make our new SLS and SLM, so metal printer, democratic metal printer, so with a lower cost and lower price. And this is 3 things, to my opinion, very, very nice. Communication, help, and new future. Try to make future. This is what we have done.
Outstanding. Garrett, you have been through quite a bit as a business in the last couple of years. Can you talk a little bit about the journey of disasters that hit your business, and how you have emerged on the other side of all these crises?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, we had the big Woolsey fires. It burned all of Malibu. So it burned, so the whole ranch, our main facility is 250 acres. We were only able to save about 40, but 40 acres of it was the core business, and we were shut down for about 3 months. So it was, with a lot of foresight from my dad. It's a family business. With a lot of foresight from my dad, he put in a water suppression system. We stayed on site, fought the fire ourselves, brought the business back up, and only to have almost a year later, to have this as unexpected, as quickly, where it went from we're producing 2,500 events on an annual basis to 0. This overnight did the same thing with the coronavirus. So, coming out of the fire, the nice thing with that is there's business interruption insurance, right? Because it's a fire, you can tie back to it. We're able to file claims. There's a bit of understanding. You can see the devastation with the coronavirus. It's something entirely different. There isn't business interruption insurance, or at least the insurance companies aren't, they aren't coming in and helping offset the loss of business from this. And overnight, people now, because we have so many events, are coming in and claiming force majeure. So there's not only do you have a loss of business, you have to try to rebook them. If you can't rebook them, they're demanding their deposits back. So it's the effect is kind of compounds on itself. So it's an interesting time. It's a really interesting time. I mean, we have 7 locations in our core business throughout LA County. At any one time here in Malibu, we have about 2,500 to 3,000 people that come through, and it's bizarre because I walked out on Saturday and it's quiet. There's not a single person. There's not a single person on the cafe. We've got probably one of the largest outdoor restaurants in Southern California, and there isn't a single soul. It's me, my dad, my brother, my mom, my nephews, kind of walking around, and it's oddly kind of nice, but it does take an adjustment. So, coming out of this, I guess you can look at it one of two ways. Like maybe that's the entrepreneurial spirit, right? Either can look at it and say, wow, what are we going to do? Or what is the opportunity? And there's a lot of opportunities given us the time to kind of pause, think, reflect on because when we emerge out of this pandemic, we are, like Arturo was saying, it is going to be a very different world in the way we interact and socialize with one another. How do we shop for groceries? How do we eat? Where do we go? So, some of the things I've been keyed in with a lot of industry leaders within music festivals, from, Coachella to Virgin Fest to, large hospitality companies who've been watching Disney and seeing how they're what are their best practices and what we're going to do. But, it really is, before it was music, right? Music, food, the ambiance that would draw people. I believe after this, it's going to be, what are the 50 things, and that's what we're putting together now, what are the 50 things that we are going to do for health and safety to make you feel comfortable? How are we going to ensure that you and your family are safe here and aren't going to get sick? And, and what is that? What does that new world look like coming out? How are we going to gather? Because, my dad has I saw a news report like 5 or 6 years ago. People get married regardless, right? In the middle of a war, famine, flood, you still come together, you want to get married, you still have to have, but how are you going to do that? How are you going to travel, right? That's a big for us too. We have a lot of people internationally that that fly in, that that come from Asia here. That's changing our business as well. How are we going to market to that? So a couple of things that we've been doing is, what was interesting is, in the height of the pandemic, the markets were running out of groceries, essentials, things like that. But all of our purveyors were dying because they had so much excess in stock in their warehouses that were going bad. So we partnered with West Central, Premier Meats, and all these really high-end restaurant purveyors, and brought them out to our facilities and did an open air market, which is actually going to spin into a business on its own, right? Where they will sell out of the back of their trucks. We'll take a percentage of it. We create an ambiance and experience, but it's outdoors, not in a shopping mall, and you can buy it direct. So it's like Costco. It's like Costco meets the farmer's market, because you're buying from, when you go to the best restaurants, from the best steakhouses, the best vegan restaurant, they are buying from these purveyors. So you're getting, prime quality product at a discount price. And and I asked, I was like, this is so weird. My friend Michael Dodo owns a company called West Central. I said to him, Dodo, why can't you just sell to like Whole Foods? Because they don't have anything on the shelves. They said, well, the amount of the logistics to get your product in there takes months. And after that, I'd be out of business. It's like, okay, well, let's set something up and let's do that. Let's be the intermediary. The other thing is ghost kitchens. And that's
Garrett, you not only are pivoting the main hospitality resort and restaurant business and reinventing it, but in the middle of all of this, you're launching a new business which is kind of converging with 3D printing.
Yep.
You saw a need, you developed some technology, and you're actually not quite 3D printing, but you are 3D knitting a
Yes.
very unique mask.
Yes. So let me
Talk
show
about
you.
that a little bit.
So, so Variant was was an on-demand. It was building a platform for an on-demand customization platform to 3D print clothing. And when this all kind of happened, we pivoted with our engineers and developed. It is, and this is from what I've seen out there, one of the best masks out on the market, because it's a 3D printed mask. It's using industrial flatbed knitting machines. Everything's knit to shape, so there's no waste. It takes about, at the moment, 11 minutes to make this, with a pocket in the back and a seal for an N95 filter. So you can see here, we've put in a filter, and this is the N95 filter, so it'll seal against your face when you wear it. If you look at it, you can see how it fits. But we've taken not only our knitwear engineers who work in the medical industry, but also in the footwear and fashion industry to engineer something that is functional, that's comfortable, and that's like, and that's going to be incredibly effective. So beauty of with what we're doing is you can, by using 3D knitting and these flatbed knitting machines, we can engage localized manufacturing to spool these things up. So we're starting on Monday, producing about 10,000 units. And then, I mean, now that we've started to show the product out there on the market, everyone's going crazy because you can see the masks that are out there, just fabric. They don't have, proper filtration. So we were able to source N95 filters, and those go back, those go in here and they're replaceable. Mask is washable. It's made out of a poly spandex yarn. So you can throw it in the wash, you can boil it. I mean, you can sanitize it and it's reusable. So I think a big thing about this, we're all trying to stay alive at the moment, and we are all trying to stay alive and protect ourselves. But I think when we look back in a month's time or 2 months, I think we'll be blown away on how much single-use product we as a society use and threw away, from masks to gloves to PPE, and so how do we take those products, rethink them, engage a industry that is I mean, I couldn't be in probably the two worst industries at the moment, right? Hospitality and fashion. So, and how do you reinvent those two things? They literally the two, if you look at any kind of report, those are the two that are most affected by this whole thing, because no one wants to get together and no one wants to eat together and no one's buying any clothes. So how do we pivot those two things and reinvent and think outside the box? So this is one of the products that we're really going to delve deep into, working to get it tested. And like, we were talking earlier about some of the, they're easing up or helping fast track approvals on this. I mean, our ultimate goal is to get this thing approved for frontline and medical use. So that would be the ultimate goal. I mean, the beauty of what we do, like 3D printing, is you can add in different things. So you not only take the yarn, we can add in different types of yarn, copper yarns, silver yarns for the antimicrobial. You can add in smart fibers into this. So this product has so much versatility to other masks that are out there on the market. And it's comfortable. That's the other thing. So.
Well, I can say that you're not only a great entrepreneur, but a born salesman. So I'm ready to get mine, but you already delivered them yesterday. So.
Thank you for letting me keep this one. I would have forgotten. Wouldn't be able to show you all what we built, but it's incredible. There are thousands, to give you a perspective. There are thousands of these flatbed knitting machines. So these machines that make this mask make all your fly knit shoes, those knitted shoes you buy from Nike and now from Rothi and all the brands that are out there making these knitted shoes, Yeezys, to all your high-end sweater brands, and they are at the moment sitting dormant because no one's making shoes, no one's buying. So then you plug in and re-engage this. The other amazing thing about this, what we're doing is creating distributed manufacturing locally. So everything that we've sourced for this mask isn't coming from other countries. It's all coming right here from the US. The nose bridge is from, Bedford, Connecticut. The yarn is from Unify out of North Carolina. The filters are coming from NC State and Haynes Corporation. So it's amazing. We don't have to go outside. We can repurpose and activate a whole community here just within the United States to produce this product.
Yeah, no, that's outstanding. Arturo, we're having a question that has come from Naveen, one of our participants, that I think maybe you can try to answer based on your experience. The question is, do you see a revenue shift in 3D printing industry as a result of this pandemic? And on the other side of it, how does a company like ShareAbot generate revenue, and from what activities?
Sure. This situation, we saw many people speak about 3D more than before, more than the last 2-3 years. So because they have understood that they can have something to save a problem soon, immediately, without no time to wait and so on. This is, to my opinion, it's interesting for the future of 3D printing. The second thing, we try another things. We try to say, we sell some printer, and a little part of the sell of the amount we give to help people. So just to participate all to help the people that have problem. So not only you customer, not only you factory, but together. And this is something that we like to do in Italy because it's a little bit new for us, but is something that give us a little bit more. We see more the future. This is happy, and I think that 3D will have a good impression for the future. We have some problem because we have to think about local product, because we have seen that when start this problem, we have no delivery from China, and today, just today, to receive some piece from East, you pay 3-4 times the transport, because also the transport situation is completely changed. There is no flight or few ship, so this is another big problem. And also they stay stopped. Before they stop it, then you have not the possibility to receive the goods, and so is a little is a problem. And we are thinking about local product. So Italian or European or US, in US and so on, because we have to produce near us. This problem is very high in automotive, because there are a lot of problem in spare parts and parts and so on. But it's something new that we have to take this disaster something to understand, and what we have to do in the future. We have to learn how to communicate in the right way or in a different way, to collaborate in another way, in a different way, and also to think about future with a new way to sell, and try to be a little bit more social, because we have a social objective. We must have a social view also. This is what we have learned, because it was really very bad to stay at home, see your friends or my friends or people with my age that die and so on. It was really, really sad. But we have to take this to think to future.
Yeah, I will add to that from my perspective of actively managing day-to-day Nexa 3D, which is really leading in ultra-fast photopolymer 3D printing. What we have seen during COVID is that first, we learned how to create a hybrid work environment in which some of us work from home and some of us have to get to the office and the facility because we still have to manufacture machines and we still have to deliver machines, and the business is ongoing. But we very quickly realized that we had a broken supply chain in local hospitals, and that there was a massive opportunity in all of this to be part of the emergency response by providing design agility, and by doing it day by day, and by connecting different networks around the world to get the collective wisdom of thousands of innovators and improve designs day by day. And what we found ourselves in the middle of it is that we repurposed a portion of our facility and created a factory that initially just started making personal protective face shields, you know, the same designs that everybody around the world, I'm sure, Arturo, you have some on your desk, and I have some on my desk.
Okay.
And I think that the power of this is that it shows you how quickly this digital design was teleported across the world into tens of thousands of printers. And it shows the importance of distributed digital manufacturing outlets that all started from one or two design and quickly disseminated throughout the world. So design agility, teleportation of mass, distributed capabilities, I think are parts of where we're going to get revenue in the future. And it's going to be, in my mind now, the real discussion is, you know, we have a concentrated, complicated, and broken supply chain. And the real opportunity in 3D printing now is to reimagine a simplified and a more localized supply chain that is more self-reliant and much better prepared for the new normal that will come out when we recover.
Yeah, Avi, I think you're 100% right. I mean, digitizing files and sending it out, like digitizing files, creating design files, and then being able to either send the raw material for people to make will fix the supply chain. Supply chain, the biggest thing that came out of this was an aha for me, is how dependent we are on China. How all of our materials are coming from China. There are other people who are trying to make other parts of masks and were reliant on their supply chain out of China and couldn't deliver because they weren't able to get the yarn, weren't able to get componentry for these masks. So that's why I focused on doing it. With this, it has to be hyper local. What are we doing here? How are we engaging or building these products here? From scratch. The other thing, looking at Naveen's question is, I think there's a big opportunity in taking things that were, that are not maybe traditional 3D printers, like using circular knitting machines, flatbed knitting machines, these types of automatic machinery, and being able to do the same type of, it's conceptually being able to apply the same type of concept where you digitize a file and you can email that file to that machine and have it manufacture it. That'll not only speed up product development, it cuts costs, it's incredibly green, it creates hyper-local manufacturing. I mean, it really kind of checks all the boxes. This has been, in a lot of ways, what an amazing opportunity to test and then invent and force us to do something that I think we should have always been thinking about and doing for a long time.
I'll tell you one story, just a funny story. One problem we had in Italy after a few days of printing, people print this valve. There is no more yarn filament for 3D printer on the market. So what we have done is ask to our supplier to give us some stock, some quantities, and we sell it for free. So we just a few kilos each people. And we just put an announcement on our website, and we asked a photo what they are doing, because we don't want to make for hospital or something like that. And we was really surprised that in 4 hours we completely finished the stocks. and 100 kilos of filament, but just 2 kilos each, two spool each one, and it was incredible how many people, and we have a lot of image of people who make thanks, and this was communication in any case, and the little we asked €5 for 2 kilos of PLA, and then this €5 we have done it to the hospital, so we give to the hospital, but was something to help, and all people make a lot of communication about that. And was really happy and feel me very happy because people say thank you about that and so and so and so.
So as we begin to look at a return to business and a return to life, what advice do you have for other people that are navigating their businesses, how to get to the other side of it and succeed, how to land on their feet? Because businesses have been shut down, unemployment is running very high. Some small businesses may be running out of cash or didn't have any customer activity. How do you guys, I'll start with you, Garrett, how do you think about the next 3 months, and how do you position your businesses, both the hospitality and the 3D knitwear business, for success? And then I want to hear from you, Arturo, the same thing. Where is ShareAbout in 3 months, and how different will it be than ShareAbout 3 months ago?
We think that first was we will focus on university and R&D because they will have money from government to study and to be ready for the next revolution or next problem. So we think R&D will be a very important customer. And second, industry, because they have understood in this situation that they can prototype and make very fast first level of production. So the first hundreds or 1,000 pieces they can do very, very fast. When they have to make massive production, they can wait, they can use their implant and so on. So our focus are R&D and industry, university and industry for prototyping and little or medium product quantities.
And you, Garrett?
You know, so talking about the ranch, the hospitality first. I mean, the big thing is there are a lot of people doing small, you know, trying to reinvent the business model at this very moment for a small, short period of time. I mean, what we've talked about as a family and looked at is to try and reinvent ourselves and do a drop and go pickup delivery service, anything like that. The margins are really low as it already in food and beverage. So it's not the right time to do that. Our model at the moment is hold tight, be engaged in social media, to not drop off, I think it is a time to be of service to the community and give, not to be, you know, and facilitate with the facilities that we have and the properties they have, the relationships that we have, to be able to serve the community and coming out of this, being smart about how we create events. So an idea is reinvigorating the drive-through model, using the property as an experience where you will come and be socially distanced in your car. California has a huge car culture, right? So you would drive up in your car, come to a great event, and I think by bringing people out, being sensitive to, I think, what the society norms are going to be, and not trying to be like, not pretend that we just didn't experience this incredibly jarring, 2 months, people aren't going to want to come out in a big way and I think socialize like normal. So how do we bring people out, re-engage them with the property, have them stay at the facility, and then slowly baby step towards, what the new normal is going to be. So, the big thing is, let's not go crazy with new concepts, hold tight, watch our money, think of new concepts like where social distancing is, and health and safety is first and foremost, is our priority in making people feel safe and comfortable. With Variant, it's similar to what Arturo said. Right now is a big time for R&D. It really took the whole team and engaged them on one product to focus in on something that is going to make a big difference. The same philosophy applies. Maybe that hospitality part of me is, carries through in all these different businesses. Is how do we be of service? How do we make as many of these engage and put people back to work in locally here in the U.S.? How do we take factories that are going to have a massive, many of them are probably going to go out of business if they don't have a new product to manufacture. Many of them are going to need to, so how do we put people back to work on a product that people are going to need, on a product like this that really can make a difference? How do we get this thing fast tracked, through governmental agencies to make this maybe a new version of a normal wearable protective product? So life is going to be different, but, and that is the beauty of taking, things that are like 3D printing. You can iterate quickly, test the market, change it. Like today, we're going to make, several changes to this mask, and I'll make them. We'll knit them out, wash them, try them on, change it again if we need to. So that's the beauty of being able to do this on a platform that we've been able to build, like a proprietary platform that we built ourselves.
So along those lines, Len is asking about, what can we do to speed up regulatory requirements as an industry, so that we could make some of these more regulated products easily and quickly adaptable. Because what we learned, and what Len is saying, which is right, he said, listen, for less regulated kind of class 1 FDA registered products like personal protective gear, the power and agility of the 3D printing industry really showed up, sprung into action overnight, and made a massive first responder capability literally overnight. But when we try to take the same behavior and the same technology to more regulated devices that require a great deal of facility preparation and registration and certification, and a great deal of testing to qualify a device, the system is just not agile enough to respond in an emergency. How can we as an industry now begin to get regulating bodies like the FDA from the mindset that they have to test the device to a mindset that they have to certify a process and trust the process and the design to give the right outcome?
It's so funny. I think, the FDA is like a Fortune 500 company. It's like a big corporation, like your, GM, Ford Motor Car Company. And then you've got 3D printing is like a Tesla, right? It is like an agile, smart startup. And how do you, I think it's bridging a standardization. You need somebody from maybe we need somebody from the 3D printing industry, or and it all comes from localized government, right? Where they can help approve and fast track these types of new innovations. But it will require some standardization. I mean, why is the FDA there? It's to make sure that we don't get sick and die if someone puts something out, or it's safe. But there are ways to do it that are more efficient. At the moment, you're right, it's not efficient. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of, it's almost like they're getting in the way of innovation. So it almost needs to be a silo or a division that's set aside from it, maybe from the 3D printing industry that is a little more agile, that can take a set of standards and say, if you make it to these standards, then we can fast track an approval.
I can tell you the story or the problem we have in Italy, because we had a confusion about that. Because I tell you, in the first week, 20,000 factory asked the test of mask, 20,000. So it was impossible. And so we had a very big problem. So no one can use in the hospital because they have not FP2 and FP3, the certification. And what they are thinking is not to certificate the single product, but the processing or the factory. This is completely different. It's coming a little bit back, because if you use the right material, you have the right machinery, the right process, the right step of control, then your product is okay. Because otherwise you have, like Italy, 20,000 people that want to have a certification of the mask, and there is a lot of cost of structure or organization to make the certification. It is very difficult. It's one of the biggest problem we had to have mask, because sometimes we had mask, but we cannot use it, or our hospital cannot use it. This was one of the problems we have, and it's still a problem. It's not yet save this problem. And just to come back, I want to say you another thing about the future of 3D. We have to change a little bit our mind. We, as a producer of 3D printer, we have not to think about the 3D printer, but the solution, what they have to do. So we have to think about the customer and the product that the customer want to realize. Then we have to go back and to find the material, the technology, the 3D printer, and so and so and so. But the important is the solution. This is what we have to study, and we, Shabbat, will make some way to solution. That's all.
Now, in all of this, in addition to learning how to unleash the power of design agility, distributed 3D printers and 3D knitting machines around the world, how to teleport designs and how to reimagine a different kind of supply chain for the future, we also have an opportunity to think about sustainability. And sustainability, not just in the material sense, but in the carbon footprint sense, because when we can teleport designs, we can minimize freight, we can simplify logistics, we can reduce warehousing costs and real estate costs, but we could also potentially employ a lot more people, because, you know, to me, part of sustainability, and this is the maybe most powerful lesson from COVID-19, is that we're fighting for the sustainability of humanity as well when we have a pandemic like this that knows no borders and no languages. It's kind of an equal opportunity pandemic that spreads exponentially all over the world. It kind of reminds us also about the role that we have as innovators and entrepreneurs, not just about the sustainability of the planet, but the sustainability of humanity. What are you guys doing in your businesses to deal with the human side of the pandemic that the rest of us on this discussion can learn from?
Well, I mean, talking about sustainability, obvious. I mean, the amount of single-use products that are being used once, thrown away because, you know, it's a health and safety issue. But how do we innovate and develop products that are reusable, that can be recycled? I mean, I think even with, you know, 3D printed products, being able to grind up and reuse some of that filler material. But even with, so these masks, you know, as we evolve and iterate into them, we'll be able to use recycled poly. We'll be utilizing, I mean, just the sheer fact that you're able to wash and reuse it, we'll coat it with there's a coating that that is being added to the yarn where it won't actually absorb water, moisture, or get soiled. So, I mean, I think, and then the other part, I think the biggest part that we all kind of forget is, you're right, is a shipping cost. What is that carbon footprint of when you logistically move things all over the world? I mean, I used to say this about apparel, right? You would buy the yarn from Italy, ship it to Asia, have it manufactured in Asia, then have products shipped. I mean, your garment, by the time it's made, has taken probably, has gone around the globe twice. And the carbon footprint of that is massive. Not to mention when you think of having to actually deploy products to needed areas in immediate time, there are hundreds of these machines, thousands of these machines here in the US. They're just sitting idle at the moment. So we're starting to send them digital files to be able to manufacture these products. You know, you should be able to send a product to be manufactured locally where the demand is highest. Like you wouldn't send, you know, you wouldn't make snow boots in sub-Saharan Africa. You should make them in Switzerland, right? Where the demand is highest and the product is needed is where it should be manufactured and made. That's, I think, the beauty of additive manufacturing.
One last question that's coming, you know, from our community, and even though we have run out of time already, I think it's worth asking this question. The role of IP, of intellectual property, has been tested again and again over the last few weeks, you know, as many companies try to step in and help, and sometimes the owners of the IP generously shared it and opened it up for this humanitarian effort, and in other instances, not so much. The firewalls, you know, still stood in the way of progress. How do you guys think about the role of IP in your business, and how are you navigating this as we come to the other side of it?
So with the masks, I'll just start quickly. With the masks, we're going to have a licensing agreement that'll go with it, right? So if you want to download and use this mask and be able to produce it, then it's not to be sold for profit. You know, in fact, we don't want you to turn around and sell this mask at a market for profit. Ultimately, we want to do good for the community and your machine. So if you do that, when you download it, there'll be a licensing agreement that goes along with it that you acknowledge it. You know, at some point, there's, you know, the only way, I think maybe you taught me this, Avi, is you just have to, you always have to innovate, and you have to innovate and be ahead of the curve. You know, at some point, we got to keep creating new things, better things, and kind of moving that ball forward with the engineers that we have. And we already have a version, you know, 2 and 3 of this mask. So it's, you know, if someone were to copy it, great. I mean, I hope that they do, because it's it's the best mask that's out there on the market, and it will help and protect people. And how do we get more of these out there? So we'll just, that's something new.
I think I have a little bit another idea, because as 3D printer producer, you can see, Mr. Avi, that in the last 4 years, how many different technology will arrived. So now, to my opinion, is more important the speed, because we have a lot to learn, a lot to make, and the most important is to be very, very fast in new project and new idea. If I lose time or money to make IP protection and so on, is not, to my opinion, sorry, is my opinion, is losing time. We have no time. Time is something that is gone. So we must be very fast. You see, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there are only 2, 3 technology. Now, how many words? 20, 30, 40, I don't know, a lot. And a little bit with a lot of difference. And a lot will be in the future, much more, because each solution needs a technology. And we must be very, very fast to develop a new product. So a new printer must take less than 1 year in a new technology to be on the market. Because after 2, 3, 4 years, it's completely old, finished. This is my mind, okay?
No, Arturo, I think maybe I said it a little bit differently, but I totally agree. You're right. You innovate, you keep innovating. You can't hold on to the past, because I think the beauty of additive manufacturing is the agility to literally dream something up, and then you get to make it. You can see it in like maybe hours, right? Whereas before it would take months or years.
Yeah, I could not agree more that it's all about time, and the concept of time in a post-COVID recovery, which is likely to take longer than we think and be much more challenging than we think, will squeeze every ounce of inventiveness and creativity, just like we did during the crisis, to make sure that we will build healthy, sustainable, and scalable businesses. And my hope and prayer for everybody is that we do it as a community, that we open up, that we remove, you know, many of the traditional firewalls and restrictions responsibly, both on the regulatory and the IT side, so that we could really harness the collective wisdom in a way that's safe and responsible. Arturo, Garrett, I want to thank you very much for being part of this and for continuing to be part of our journey in life and in business. Arturo, best of luck as Italy comes back online. And Garrett, I can't wait to buy more masks, because I think that masks will be with us as part of our daily attire for quite some time. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Avi.
you.
Community, thank you for keep showing up to our discussions on a weekly basis. Stay healthy, be safe, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.